Hi, this is Conrad Zimmerman of FistShark Marketing, reminding you that you can help support our weird show with a small monthly contribution through Patreon. For less than a book of Dadaist poetry, you can Robot Avenue _ Plank Arsenic. Just visit patreon.com/FistShark or click the big Patreon button at fistshark.com for more details. And thanks for listening.
Jim, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Hey, shoot from the hip. That's always how we've done things here.
Well, it's a little bit of a hygiene issue around the office. Is this
because I touched Craig without the gloves that time? I disinfected my hands and everything.
No, you're fine.
I checked for open cuts, because I know he's a filthy boy. But I really had to slap him, and I didn't have time to get the gloves. He was standing there. You know how much that bugs me.
No, of course. No, that's fine. there's just been a lot of blood trails in the hallways lately. You're leaving it behind. It's a really big mess. I'm tripping over bodies in the hallway when I come to the meeting rooms in the morning. Could you be a little bit more careful?
Blood trails... In the hallway, you say?
Yeah, no. Every morning, 8 a.m., coming to the office, I trip over a hooker.
Trip over a hooker, bodies in the hallway. I'm drawing a blank. You mean me murdering people?
Yeah, no, that's the problem.
Right, because I clear him up by mid-morning.
Well,
And
I know, but...
we do appreciate that. It's nice that they're eventually getting disposed, but frankly, the rate at which you've been killing people, and having this be the result that every morning when we come into the office, there are more bodies, that's a little troubling. That's a concern.
Right. Am I not murdering enough people? Is the ratio wrong? I tried to get an even split between prostitutes, other executives, people of lower social stature than me.
Yeah, no, it's not so much that. It's more that it's not common to do it at all.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's, I have never actually murdered anybody.
Well, not directly.
Well, no, I mean, I have certainly instructed others, but I have never murdered anybody.
Actually, Jim, in most places, it's against the law to do that.
Well,
you know that, right?
For most people, yeah. We're not exempt. I thought that law applied to... I thought most laws applied to other people.
No, I'm afraid that's not correct. Murder is one of those situations that...
We have to murder people within the bounds of the law.
Well... technically, that's yes. I mean, that's true. You're absolutely right. That's what the death penalty is for. But that's usually a punishment given to someone who has performed the act of murder outside of the boundaries of the law, where it is only really legal in execution.
Right. But I'm not executioner. I'm marketer.
Right. Which is to say that you're not the person employed to the task of murdering to solve problems. You see where I'm getting at? Murder isn't the solution to getting the wrong change back on your order at McDonald's. Do you see what I'm saying?
If they give me the right change every time now, it did solve a problem.
But the point that Conrad's making, Jim, is that you can't go haywire on people when you don't get what you want.
Right, but... this is where I'm failing to understand the situation, because going haywire on people when I don't get what I want is literally the quickest way to get what I want, especially if what I want is to murder someone.
Well, no, I understand. I see where you're coming from.
It's not like I'm going on a spree killing or anything. I'm not, a maniac or anything,
No, I mean, it's fine. One or two here or there. It's just starting to get in the way, Jim.
But these things happen, certainly. Nobody expects any of us to be angels. right?
But
But
that's what we had an expense account for.
And let's talk about the expense account, because you have been spending a lot of money on rolls of plastic to create kill rooms. And judging by how much blood and corpse content winds up into the halls every week, are you just setting them up and leaving them there and not actually killing people in the room? You do know what the purpose of the plastic is, right? It's not just decorative.
Well, here's the problem, right? I like to be as organized as possible in my professional and my personal life. I like the idea of having a what you call a kill room. You know, I would call it an executive unwinding lounge and chill out area. But at the same time, I'm also quite impulsive. So I do have several rented apartments in Boston that no one lives in, covered in plastic. I do admit that, and I do admit that might be wasteful because I'm paying rent on all of them.
Okay, so if I'm to get this straight, you not only now have a problem with killing people, but your problem with killing people has escalated into a need to have prepared areas available at all times in which to kill people. I mean, at this rate, you are eventually just going to, have hundreds of apartments and storage facilities and burned out warehouses and abandoned churches and so forth covered in plastic and left there?
Bearing in mind that there are perfectly good non-murderous reasons for renting out a few abandoned churches.
Such as?
I don't technically know, but I feel like it's a good idea to have them just in case. The others I totally get you on. I'm not using them. I don't need them. I will, I'll terminate the leases as soon as I remember exactly who I leased from and what I've leased.
Well, no, hold on.
I can use the plastic for many other things, like murdering people.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because there is an advantage to the fact that you have all of these properties rented like this, because...
Pull the plastic over the face.
That's going to eliminate a lot of housing that people could be living in, which is going to drive demand and prices way up. So hang on to that in the short term, because we may yet be able to take care of it. But yeah, just stop acquiring for the time being.
Yeah,
and maybe start killing in the kill rooms you have. Just make a list. Get a little more organized. I mean, if this is going to be a hobby of yours,
well,
then take it seriously.
The trouble is I didn't want to bring this up because I felt you'd be angry at the real waste of money, but I tried it once. Someone served me a coffee at the Starbucks. It was lukewarm at best. And my urge was to just drown them in their own coffee right there and then. Just tie them into a chair and force them to drink until they fill their lungs up.
Right.
But I thought, no, you know what? I just rented a lovely penthouse suite. I'm going to take this guy there, invited him to the apartment to look at it. He came along. I don't know why. I think it's because he thought I was Burt Reynolds. I tell people that sometimes, and 50% of the time they believe me. So, brought him up there. By the time, it was 20 minutes to get back there. By the time I got in there, I just kind of wasn't into the idea anymore of killing the guy. So, we just kind of fucked on the plastic and I let him go on his way.
Well, but look at this perfect example here. You had this problem, you were ready to kill them, and then decided in the brief period of time it took you to get to the apartment that you didn't actually have the need to kill them.
But I was really horny.
Well, okay. You don't think that might be a slightly more healthy expression that doesn't wind up with corpses in our corridor?
Every time I'm angry, just knock one out in the bathroom.
Right, but please, make it to the bathroom.
Or Craig. Make it to Craig.
Really, really disappointing news from the medical community. We're gonna have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that they are very, very close to finding a cure for herpes.
Oh, no. No.
Really?
I know. Yeah.
This isn't a joke or anything.
There's been new gene therapy research, and it does not sound good. I mean, we could be looking at 18, 24 months before they're ready for human trials. And
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We projected at least 10 to 12 more years of this. Oh, my God.
Just when I thought the anti-vaxxers were going to bring back polio for us, this fucking happens?
yeah, no. So I don't know. I mean, this disrupts a decade's worth of plans, and expected revenue.
Well, obviously. I mean, fucking treatment for that shit has been some of the most lucrative marketing deals that we have ever had.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Our Valtrex work has just been so good. So good. And now it's for nothing.
Okay, so what's the contingency plan here? They've knocked down one of our big boys. We're going to have to put something in its place.
Yep. We're going to have to develop an entirely new disease.
I mean, do we have to... I hate going back to the drawing board. Do we have to deal with the boys at the lab and make something? Is there nothing we have currently that we can put in its slot? Can we not whip up some mass hysteria about something? Like, I hear St. Shriven's disease is coming back.
Well, here's the beauty of herpes. You know, what was so wonderful about herpes as a disease is it was something that transmitted fairly easily, wasn't deadly, but still required chronic treatment.
That's true, and we've done such a good job whipping up an unfair social stigma about it.
Yeah.
Like, shame industry is so good for us. I mean, having achy anus is inconvenient, but we tried to get people to be ashamed of themselves for it, and there's actually a lot of sympathy for achy anus, so I guess that's not going to go in.
No, it's
okay,
not.
well, I mean, I'm just trying to think about the things we have. Auntie shelves. I mean, that's awful, the bleeding involved in that. Clemdenkus.
Yeah, but the problem with Clendeckles is it just locks up the entire lower half of the body. I mean, it's literally crippling, you know, and we can't have something that just, you know, when it decides to flare up, absolutely stops someone. I mean, can you imagine a construction worker on the edge of a building doing his work, and then all of a sudden his legs lock in a straight position?
That's true. We need something where you can still go to the store and buy the drugs.
Right, yeah.
Squeaky nipples.
Tweaky nipples. Okay. I mean, itching, irritation.
It's very annoying.
And the leak spots that form on the chest, that encourages people to go and get an outbreak fixed right quick.
What about father's fortune?
Yeah, but I mean, while it is uncomfortable, the way it causes men's genitals to swell, it seems that some view it as a benefit. And so,
That's
you
true.
know, hence the name Father's Fortune.
Yeah, I did have a case of it back in 97, and it... well, I was a bit upset when it got treated. Okay, secret source.
Too messy.
That's true. Same could be said of cum dumpsterism. Okay, bad windows.
Again, I mean, blinding, immediate blinding, not conducive to getting them to the store. It's too high risk. We need them to survive. And then it presents too much opportunity for mishap, particularly with the way that particular disease is transmitted. I mean, you know, the analingus community would just dissolve, and we need them because that is a growing market.
Okay.
Why don't we bring medieval back? We just pull an old one out.
Pull out the old stuff.
Yeah.
Like hairy eyes or fused lung.
Well, I was thinking more bubonic plague, but yeah, that worked too.
Yeah, but we don't. Do we want to like kill the market?
Yeah, that might be a little bit too strong. Wonder if we could pull a strain out. It's like a half bubonic plague.
Something.
A boob plague.
Ooh, go on. The boob plague. I like this. Maybe we could have it engineered so that it causes people to develop the boils associated with bubonic plague. specifically on their chest.
Extra boobs. Better yet, on the arms, on the legs.
I like it. But we have to make sure that it's not something that's not actually going to kill people, that it's really just an inconvenience. And just in an inconvenience that in an enlightened society, they could let go.
I'm really attracted to the idea of bringing back Santa's hedgehog or unguent allergy.
Well, Santa's hedgehog was short-lived.
Well, yeah, and the reason for that is that it was quickly found that if men just stopped wearing their beards in that style, the change to their facial hair, which made it so sharp, deadly, and poisonous, just ceased to be a problem.
I mean, I'm just going through the list of diseases we have on file that perhaps haven't been pushed as aggressively in ads as they could have been. You know, things like angry bush, skeletons creep, street sharkism, you know?
Well, we have to think about longevity here. I mean, we don't want another herpes situation where we think this is going to last us, you know, in the realm of 20, 50, however many years, and then it's short-lived.
What you're saying is that we need to have something that's going to mutate to prevent any preventative cure from coming into fruition.
Yes.
Like something that, like, really mutagenic.
Like a cold, but embarrassing.
An embarrassing cold. Like, if we could just come up with a cold that causes your bowels to loosen.
Hang on a sec.
You know, sharding fever. Something like that.
Give me 1 sec. Hello? Hello, yeah, Dr. Night Scream. Yeah, no, it's me, Jim. We're talking about diseases up here in the I don't like the way you laugh like that. That's very unsettling. We're having a discussion on diseases. We heard the news too. Herpes has been cured. Hooray. We've been trying to think of something we could have to replace it. No, I suggested angry bush. But if what we came up on was something already incurable that we could just kind of twist a little bit to bring up the social stigma and anxiety, something like, say, a common cold that loosens the bowels. Oh, you already have about 5 strains of that. Well, that's perfect. Why have you been keeping that under your hat, you sly dog? Oh, thanks, mate. No, I really appreciate that. No, I'm glad you told me about it. No, I'm not disappointed. Okay. Alright, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Okay. Alright. Bye. He had 5 strains of it he was going to save for my birthday.
Aww.
International news. This has been doing the rounds. In China, it is customary. This has been going on for a while, but thanks to Anthony Bourdain and a whole bunch of other people sort of talking about it, it's become quite popular enough to cross the seas, actually. Apparently it's quite customary in China to have strippers perform at your funeral. Apparently it's quite lucky. It's for the relative, for the deceased relative, you know, those in the grieving process, hire themselves strippers from, I guess, a local club or what have you. They come, they perform, and that sends the deceased, the dearly departed off quite happy. It's a pretty good idea, I think.
What a touching tradition.
It's a touching tradition. It's so touching, in fact, that there are a few states now in the country, in the United States, that are interested in doing it, and a few funeral homes in Boston, lucky us, have actually been partaking of this idea. And we get to work with the strip clubs who are providing the entertainment.
That is fantastic. So then we're getting models from these local strip clubs to come out and perform at some ceremonies, and how's the response been so far?
Pretty good. There's been some protest, mostly from a large sector of the general public, claiming it's, immoral, tasteless, especially religious ceremonies, things held in churches where weirdly most funerals are. Some of them have found it a bit tacky. A couple of churches are all for it, though. And there are a few sort of plastic-covered abandoned churches where some of these funerals are being held. That's been very popular. One issue some people have with is the cost, because this is a luxury service being provided. I mean, funeral costs already are pretty expensive. But we may have worked our way around that with what we're calling a sort of trade in services, which not only pays for the strippers, but can help me mitigate funeral costs altogether. And actually put a dent in the existing costs of hiring a coffin and mortician services and cemetery space. All of these are big problems. But a few of the more innovative, and by a few I mean one of the more innovative strip clubs in Boston, they've hit upon an idea where goods and services can be exchanged between the strip club and the recently bereaved.
Well, that sounds like a deal, especially for those that are suffering. I mean, they're already grieving for their lost one, and adding on top of that the cost, I mean, to give them more options.
Well, yeah,
sounds fantastic.
I get that, but when you say an exchange of services, I mean, are the families, then expected to go and work in the strip clubs, and in what capacity?
Oh, God, heavens, no.
Oh, well,
they're in mourning. That would be incredibly tasteless.
That's what I thought. But, you say an exchange of services.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm talking to the wife of a husband who's passed away, and then I'm like, I tell you what, if you want to save some money, go take your top off at the meaty anklet. That's not going to come across very well.
No, I wouldn't imagine anyone would go for that.
What the proprietor's interested in are the corpses.
Really?
Yeah, the argument is if the meaty anklet is going to send women to the funeral, then the least that could be done is to send the body, before burial or cremation, obviously, to the meaty anklet.
To do what?
Well,
exactly.
Well, they won't be doing any public speaking. Let's say that much.
So, am I to understand from this that there's a strip club out there that has corpses performing on stage?
The way you say that makes it sound so wrong.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay, I mean, maybe you should have a word with Hammy yourself. I've been talking to the proprietor, Hammy Benson Phillips, and, I mean, he's said that his profits are up. The family's making such a huge savings on their funeral now because they get money back for this. Fine with it. I mean, the economy is tight. People have got to scrimp and save where they can. Now, some might call that exploitative, but...
it's a market I never would have considered existed.
Well, I mean, once you get the system of weights and pulleys in place, it's art, as far as I'm concerned. Art by way of Weekend at Bernie's and stripping.
And people come and pay for this.
Absolutely. I mean, they're told to be careful when they put the money in the G-string because they don't want to cause too much bruising.
Well, sure, you don't want to cause additional work for the funeral parlor once the body inevitably makes it there, but... So this is just, this is an event night that they do, on weekends, or what? I mean, how often is this happening?
I mean, currently it's Thursdays, Fridays, Wednesdays, Mondays, and Sundays, and Saturdays. But only during the day on Saturday.
And it's making money? They're drawing crowds?
I mean, fucking hell, the private dances alone are making a mint.
Huh. Well, and I wonder if I guess the laws would be different in regards to your ability to touch a not live dancer in a private dance as opposed to a live dancer, because you're not allowed to touch. But I mean, if they're not alive, technically that opens up. Oh dear God, I can see where all the money's coming from.
They still have a lot of strict policies in place because formaldehyde leakage is decidedly unerotic.
Oh, that's a comfort, at least.
Yeah, I mean, nothing untoward is happening. This is all done with permission. I mean, I should point out that we're not just digging up corpses and flopping them about on the stage like grotesque, rotting puppets. This is all above board. The actual deceased sign waivers before they die. This is all done with permission, gladly by the families, men and women both.
Well, that's fantastic, but how are we going to convey that to an angry community that doesn't understand it?
We could murder them.
Jim, we've discussed this.
It would open up a lot more stripping opportunities.
I'm not arguing that it's disgusting that people choose to judge the means of which families grieve.
And that's it. I mean, you'd think there'd be some understanding. It's all part of the bereavement process. To see grandfather up on stage in a pink G-string, stuffed full of $100 bills, cowboy boots, dancing to Poker Face.
Oh, that image.
Right. No, and I can see how that could certainly make some people feel better.
Yeah, I mean, unless the rotor attached to the waist that's doing the gyrating is a bit testy that night. Sometimes it spins a bit too fast and the head comes off.
Yeah, that's awkward. But I mean, if everybody involved is into it, I mean, I don't see the problem. We're making money, they're making money, everybody's making money. But I will have to do something to change perception outside of that. How can we make... I almost said, how can we make dead corpses dancing sexy? But I mean, clearly that's already been accomplished. But how can we make the idea of that sexy?
How do we sell it to people? I mean, easy. We take out like a few billboards around town. Dead people stripping. Better than the squats.
FistShark Marketing is Jim Sterling, Conrad Zimmerman, and Caitlin Cook. Theme music by Ben Rama. Additional music by Alazar Chand. Our editor is Nick Malone. Get more episodes and learn how to help support the show at FistShark.com. Follow us on Twitter at FistShark for more of our exploits. Complaints can be forwarded via email to fistsharkmarketing@aol.com. And remember, the first rule of capitalism: those with the most capital make all the rules. Goodbye.